Hi, my name is Dr. Padilla. I'm a professor in computer science and psychology. I've been a professor for over 5 years now. I have done a lot of videos about how to email potential advisors, and I have another one here for you. I don't mean to keep going on about emailing, but I get so many questions about it. And this question has come up over and over again, so I thought I would make a video about it. It's how to craft a perfect follow-up email to a potential advisor. This is a situation where maybe you've received a response, maybe you haven't. How do you write that secondary email in order to make sure you get the spot, make sure you get the information that you need, and to overall make a good impression? It's a critical step, and you might not know kind of the secret curriculum behind how to do it well and how to do it effectively, and I will show you all of that in this video. So let's jump on in. All right, so there's two types of emails that you're going to be responding to. The first is that they responded to you and you need to do a follow-up. The other is that you've received no response. How do you follow up in that case? Let's begin with the first one. So there's several types of responses that you'll receive to your initial email. These are things like they might follow up asking to schedule a meeting, they might ask for additional information, or they might just thank you and ask you to apply. There's a way to respond to each of those. Across all of those, the most important thing is you need to respond within 24 hours. And I know that there's a whole struggle with work-life balance in academia, but this even means on weekends. You might get a response on Saturday. You need to respond within 24 hours because you don't know what that particular professor is doing. They might be scheduling meetings right now and they need to get you on a schedule. So you have 24 hours to respond. You can of course respond afterwards. But the key is that you're signaling to a potential advisor that you are excited, that you're responsive, that you are a candidate. So do not let this response email linger. The first and maybe most exciting type of email is an email where they're asking to meet with you, okay? So there's two ways they'll do that. They will say, okay, here are the times that I have available. Go ahead and pick a time. Or maybe they might send you a link to a calendar and you select a meeting time, okay? When you do that, that is great, but you still need to send a response and it needs to be brief and clear that you have selected a particular time. So this reply can be as simple as, thank you so much for getting back to me. X time would work great. I'm excited for the opportunity to connect with you. Short and sweet, you're respecting their time, but you're giving them the required information as quickly as possible. They might be doing this with 20, 30 applicants, so they are filling in different time slots. So you want to be quick to make sure you get the time slot that you want and also to be very, very responsive. The next way they might do a similar thing is they'll ask for the times that work for you. The trick is that you want to give them as many possible times as allows in your schedule. You need to understand that their time is more precious than yours. I've done this with students before, potential students, and they gave me 2 time slots and that didn't work, right? So then we had to have another email back and forth, right? Trying to figure out what times work for both of us. Give them as many possible times. Understand that your time is more lenient than their time, and that should be a rule of thumb moving forward when interacting with them. So an email of this nature could be, thank you so much for getting back to me. Here are all the times I have available next week. If these don't work for you, I could free up some other times as well. I'm looking forward to connecting. Easy, done, fast. So the next type of email you might get that you need to respond to, again within 24 hours, is a request that's more time consuming. This can be a situation where they're asking for follow-up information. Maybe they're asking you to complete a task. I was actually talking with a graduate student where part of the thing that she had to do for an application was to complete a project, right? And that takes maybe weeks, maybe a month to do. So what can happen is they follow up with a time-consuming request that you can't just respond to via email. What you need to do in this situation is make it clear that you've received the email, that you plan to do the task at a particular time, and thank them for the opportunity. So an email like this could be, thank you so much for getting back to me. I'm excited for this opportunity. I've read over your email carefully and will be able to complete X task by X date. If I have any questions, I'll reach out to you. Again, thank you for this opportunity. The main part of this is that you are signaling that you have received the email, that you're going to complete the task, and they can expect it to be done by a particular date. And then you must do that. Do not extend past that date. You say you're going to do it at this time and do it at that time. All right, so those are best case scenarios. You've received an email and they're requesting for more information. What about if you don't receive an email response? How do you follow up? Okay, there's some rules here. The first rule is that you can follow up no earlier than 1 week from when you've sent your previous email. So you must wait a week at a minimum to follow up, but a week is a sufficient amount of time. This lets professors know that you're really just trying to make sure that they didn't miss the email. It happens all of the time. Maybe they had lots of tasks that week and they were planning on getting to it and they didn't. In any case, a week is a sufficient amount of time. I would say if you're looking over 2.5 weeks, maybe that's too long. So there's a sweet spot between a week and no more than 3 weeks out to send this follow-up reminder email. Now, when you're crafting that email, what you want to do is you want to reply to the email that you've already written, okay? Do not start a second email thread. I've seen this a lot where our students or just anyone writes me and says, I'm following up on the email that I sent you last week, and it doesn't have the email that they sent last week. So then I have to go digging through and finding this previous email. You want them to be connected, easy to find, make it simple as possible, okay? So don't start a second email thread. Now, what does one of these emails look like? I would write something to the effect of, I just wanted to follow up regarding my request if you are accepting PhD applicants this year. I know you're very busy and I appreciate the time you've already taken considering my request. If you need any other information from me, please don't hesitate to reach out. I hope you have a nice week. Okay, simple, short, just reminding them that the email does in fact exist, okay? That's really the only thing that it functions as, is just a reminder. After you send that, do not send a second follow-up email. If they're not responding, there could be a few reasons. One of them is that they're just not accepting students, and if they had to reply to every student who's emailing them, it would take forever, okay? Hopefully what they have done is they've indicated somewhere on a website that they're not accepting students. Usually they do that because they don't want to be flooded with emails about potential PhD applicants, but you need to make sure that you have checked out their website. Every week I get 5 to 7 emails asking if I'm accepting students this year. On my website, it says directly, I am not accepting students this year. So the people who are emailing me are wasting my time. Don't be that person. Check on all of the websites that are connected with Professor to see if they have information about accepting students. They might not, but in any case, just don't be wasting anyone's time. Now, I want to close by setting your expectations. What can you expect? In part because I get questions about, is it normal that the response comes in this way? Does it mean anything about my application? So I want to just make sure everyone knows what is appropriate to expect. The main thing is you're going to receive an email that is short. It might be 1 sentence, maybe 2 sentences. Do not read into it. They're not, angry or anything at you. It's just they have limited time and they're emailing you amongst the hundreds of other emails they're doing that day. So just don't take that to heart. If they've emailed you back, that is so very good. Another expectation is they might be asking you for something directly, and they're going to need that as quickly as possible. Or, like I said previously in this video, you need to indicate when you will have that item completed by, okay? So the request might be kind of an abrupt ask, like, I need this from you, you need to email that quickly, okay? Or indicate when you are going to achieve that thing that they're asking you to do. Now, the last thing you might see in an email is very vague communication or uncommittal, okay? So they might say something to the effect of, I can't comment on your application at this time, but definitely consider applying. That is so normal, in part because what can happen is if professors are too direct and say, I think you'd be a really strong applicant, if that person applies and then doesn't end up getting the job, they might complain, they might have issues. So their language might be intentionally vague in order to make sure that they're not sending the wrong signals. In the end, they're not going to know who they're going to hire until you get interviewed and go through the whole process, and there might be lots of other things going on. So the communication is designed in part to be a little bit vague. Don't take offense by that, and don't think it means that they don't want you. It's just the way that they have to communicate in some ways to protect themselves from whatever the decision ultimately is. All right, I think that's everything in terms of crafting a perfect follow-up email. I hope this was helpful. Again, I get a lot of questions about this. Comment down below if there are some things that I haven't covered that you would like me to cover in future videos. Academia can be tough, but you don't have to go through it alone. Keep learning, keep growing, and I'll see you in the next one. Take care.